Why is it so difficult for Vietnamese manufacturers to successfully work with a Western customer?
You can usually tell when you walk through the door of a manufacturing plant whether or not the necessary quality controls are in place.
I'm not saying all of them, but most Vietnamese manufacturers is like that.
That Vietnam was probably some years behind China in terms of its
Why is it so difficult for Vietnamese manufacturers to successfully work with a Western customer? And I believe that it was the same thing for China factory, right?
Yes, I think in the beginning, not all Western customers are necessarily aware of the option to use Vietnam as a supply base.
Okay, so it's awareness. Right.
Awareness, yeah. There is a feeling generally in the West because China supplied products have completely flooded most of the UK and America now.
Yeah.
So there is a tendency to look further afield because China's prices are increasing.
Yeah.
There's been some problems with supply and logistics, especially recently through COVID, etc.
Yeah.
So Western customers are looking for potential alternatives. If Vietnamese companies want to take advantage of that, then the hardest thing they're going to find is a way of introducing themselves to those Western potential customers.
Okay, and how do you suggest that is the best way that we can go forward?
I could only imagine that digital marketing plays a big part of that, because all supply chain managers are constantly reviewing their price structures and how can I get my components at better prices.
Yeah.
And that is done online mostly, I would imagine.
Okay. What do you think is the strongest or the weakest attribute of a Vietnamese factory when you visit them?
I think Vietnamese factories seem to have good capacity.
Okay.
There is no shortage of capacity. They seem to be very quick to respond and are very motivated to engage Western customers.
Right.
So that I would say is probably their strength. There's absolutely no COVID restrictions at the moment in Vietnam, as I can see.
Yeah.
So they have that flexibility as well.
Yeah. So capacity and attitude, good attitude.
Attitude, absolutely attitude. Yes. I have found the Vietnamese people I've met and the suppliers I've been to very cooperative.
Yeah.
Very keen, very friendly and helpful, and always willing to build good relationship with outsourcing companies like us.
Yeah. So what about the weakness? What do you think that they can improve aside from the quality mindset, of course?
Mostly, I would say the weakness, if there is one, is quality, is consistency, and yeah.
All right. Yeah. So during this very volatile time, right, the COVID and then the dispute in the Eastern Europe, I'm sure that there's a lot of disruption in our supply chain. So can you tell us about our outsourcing company business so far during the last 2 years?
Okay. Well, it might surprise you that over the last 2 years we haven't actually seen very much of an impact on our customers and their need for our products and their placement of orders. The main the disruption that we've had has been in logistics and shipping.
All right.
COVID has decimated the shipping industry crossing by sea. Ports are very congested.
Yeah.
So we've seen considerable delays in deliveries.
Yeah.
But that's been the main one. As far as the problem in the Ukraine at the moment, I don't really think we've seen any impact from that, other than the fact that we're all obviously a little concerned about the potential for disruption to gas supplies in the West, and also obviously if it were to escalate and involve NATO, then I think we'd all have a serious problem. But no, we've actually seen a growth in our order book for the last 2 years.
So you're saying despite the very bad logistic and the price increase, of course, we're still seeing order growth. Like by how much?
Yes. I would estimate about 10%.
10%
Probably.
compared to last year?
Compared to last year.
Yeah. And quantitatively, can you share with us?
We've seen our monthly shipments into the UK and USA customers.
That's good news.
Yes.
Yeah.
The main impact that we've seen from COVID over the last 2 years has been in the field of logistics. Shipping delays and making it difficult to process consignments to customers due to the lack of personnel. And due to the lack of personnel and quarantine and testing. In fact, in China at the moment, we still see many delays as they are still shutting down areas in China at this moment. In fact, our level of business, if anything, has increased over the last 2 years as our customers have not reduced their activities during that period.
No. So you're saying despite the logistic delay and disruptions, and also the price has been increasing, I'm sure, our order growth actually increased. Like by how much?
Yes, we've seen growth from most of our customer base, maybe as much as 10%.
Each year?
This shows our regular monthly shipments have grown to the point where we're now shipping almost 1 million components a month.
A million components a month?
Yes, into the UK and America.
Wow, that's good news. So, do you think there's an very obvious trend that the Western customer is coming to Vietnam for manufacturing?
We've seen that from American customers. Because we've seen that from American customers who are tending to move away from China and are looking for alternatives. Vietnam is the obvious alternative because the prices maybe in some areas are quite similar and there are no restrictions within Vietnam at the moment. But other than that, Western customers need to be made aware that Vietnam is an option as a supply chain. So this is where Vietnamese companies do need to be more aggressively marketing.
You're saying that Vietnam as a country is not known as a manufacturing country in the West, in Europe?
Certainly not as much as China. I mean, China has flooded the UK and America with products over the last 10 years, and everyone has come to be used to the fact that everything's made in China.
Right, but wouldn't you think if we put Vietnam beside countries like Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, so in terms of manufacturing, what is the impression of the West toward Vietnam? Are we up there or are we not there yet?
I don't think that across the spectrum of Asian suppliers that there is a league table where China is the top and Vietnam is the bottom. I don't think it's like that. I think suppliers I think customers look for the most competitive pricing, no matter where it comes from. But of course, for the West to travel to Vietnam to oversee manufacturing is a very expensive process.
So you're saying that we have to be more aggressively market ourselves to the West?
Yes, absolutely.
And also you just mentioned about pricing, right? Right now there's still a tariff that is imposed on China goods to the US.
Yes.
For example, if in the near future such tariff is lifted, do you think Vietnam still have a chance in this supply chain game?
They do, but it will be more difficult.
because
the traditional Chinese supply base is known to the Americans now, and they will continue with that because we don't want to introduce a new element of risk, and bringing in a new supplier from Vietnam may introduce an element of risk, and it has to be economically viable to do that.
Yeah, so cost is still the number one driver, you're
Absolutely.
saying? Yeah. Even though there were concern about sustainability, supply chain, but cost is still the number one driver.
Cost is the number one driver.
Okay, all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and beside cost and beside quality improvement, what other advice you can give to the Vietnamese manufacturers?
I would say that Vietnamese manufacturers need to make wholesale improvements in their ability to demonstrate a good quality assurance and quality control systems.
Okay.
Particularly working to the ISO standards that are accepted around the world.
Yeah. So that's the number one advice.
Number one piece of advice, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Trevor.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.